Hello, very dear one. Welcome to the Psychic Garden. Happy to have you here. So today I'm doing a reading on Chiron and Pisces. Then you can go directly to the reading by following the timestamp. I will first do a quick introduction. So ideally, I was going to do this reading tomorrow with a new moon, because I work with the energy of the moon, and specifically for Chiron, I do new moon and full moon readings. But yesterday I started feeling the Chironic Pisces energy very strongly, and I was actually thinking why, and I was curious about it, so I went into the planet's alignment, and at that precise point, the moon was sextiling Chiron. So of course the moon is a Pisces archetype. It has the water element in it. And I think it simply was having a conversation with Chiron. And the reason that I felt the Pisces in Chiron energy within me, is because I am here to do that, right? To channel messages for Chiron and Black Moon Lilith. And so my body simply is receptive to when those energies are activated and just responds and starts manifesting it. And since it was so strong, I simply couldn't do the reading last night. I still needed to process some of this energy before being ready to do the reading, but I couldn't also wait until tomorrow because I simply am not meant to hold this energy within me for long periods of time. It's better to do the reading as soon as possible so that this energy goes back to where it belongs. And that's how we work as any type of channel of energy for others. We have to do this of distinguishing our energy, the others, the collective, and be very disciplined in working with our own, of course, first of all, but also in distinguishing and setting like very clear boundaries for what is meant for us to work and what is meant for others. So that's why we give the message out, right? And that's why I opened this channel to begin with, this YouTube channel, because all these messages were coming to me and they simply needed to drift to where they belong. And of course, a lot of these things are also collective, and I'm also in the collective, so and I also have a responsibility there. But there are times which my responsibility is simply to give the message, and this is the case right now. I'm here because I have this calling, this responsibility, and because your guides are asking me to do it, and I of course respond to this. Okay, so that's it. That's it on why I'm doing the reading earlier. And also, so it's important for you to know that the Chironic in Pisces energy is very present. It's very present if you have this wound. Maybe you simply feel it normal because you've been within that energy all your life. But it's simply manifesting clearly right now. Chiron in Pisces is a very, each type of wound is difficult, but I feel a lot of pain kind of with this wound. Like I feel a lot of, I feel it makes me sad. That's what I can say. It makes me sad. It makes me kind of want to fall into, why is it so hard? Why does it have to be so hard? That's what it makes me feel. So yeah, maybe it's more relatable to you when I say how I feel with it than how it's characterized, like in logical terms. But You might feel that there's something in the universe of how things play out for you that it's simply not fair. And this is, of course, a thing of perspective, because we as human beings are the ones who set, well, I'm not going to go into this speech right now, but yeah, so this is what you might feel, that things are not fair. And yeah, you might have gone through a lot of unfair kind of things also, because sometimes even the feeling drives you to unfair situations. But also you might feel like life is simply unfair for everyone in the planet, not just for you, but for everyone, and for the animals and for the earth. And this is also where it feels like a strongest struggle, because yeah, and my body was just like, oh. Because you are a very empathic person, and feeling all this pain around you. And the problem with the wound is that sometimes you fall into despair, like, my God, there's no solution. And how do we work with that conclusion? The conclusion that the wound jumps into is the actual problem it creates in our lives. So how do we work with how the wound makes us jump into conclusions? And this is what I'm going to read about today for you. Let's see. I welcome your guides, I welcome you in your journey. May we see clearly how to work with this process of integration. Please give me 2 more cards. Okay, please give me 1 more card. Please give me 1 more card. Okay, yeah. So sometimes the energy I feel is precisely what is going to come out. And well, of course, there are always surprises. Like, for example, the artist is a very clear message that I wasn't feeling, but this is like the solution. I was feeling the wound itself, which is here with the raven, with this deep pain of falling to dark places within your mind. This is here with the raven, but the solutions, which is the artist and the community, I wasn't feeling them. I wasn't just recognizing them because I was looking for them. So you are an artistic person. You have an artistic potential. You have this kind of fire within yourself that you might have not really recognized, seen, or felt a lot because of the wound. It's like there's constantly put some water into your fire. How do you equilibrate this? How do you put them both together so that they are both harmoniously within you? Right? It's not a thing to dish out the water, but how can you integrate the fire, the creative process with you, with the water element, so that you can flourish in your own path as a person who stands for themselves, who knows how to manifest, how to say things, how to act out in a way that also connects you with other people. How are you connected with other people? Through your creative process. So think about your creative process. Think about it. What is it? Where do you feel the most spontaneous? Where do you feel the most creative? Literally, where do you feel the most like you can experiment with things? Maybe it may be in the kitchen, maybe in the garden, it may be with painting, it may be with dancing, it may be, and for sure it's some of this, and several of them for sure. It may be with talking, with writing, with where do you feel the most called to do new things, to experiment with new ideas? Where? Find this as a center for yourself to be with yourself. So to carry this wound is a difficult process. And sometimes it's better not to feel it all the time, not to be present with it all the time. But when you go into this creative process, you can welcome the wound in and be with it in a conscious, observing way, so that you get into communication with it. And of course, it's not a communication of words, it's a communication of feeling, of being present, of acknowledging, of simply also transforming it. So when you go into your creative mode, welcome the wound. And sometimes also when you close this creative mode, just tell the wound, I'll be right back. Okay? It's not necessary for the wound to follow you to the rest of the time, right? So when you're stressed with work, when you're working and you start feeling the wound, go into creative mode. This is how you're going to be more like comfortable in a more peaceful place, right? So if you're working, if you're stressed out and you start feeling the wound, like the pain of how life is unfair or difficult for you or everyone around you, when you start feeling this, but feeling it, not thinking about it, just simply feeling this pain, this is a call for you to go into creative mode. So maybe you are working, you are doing things in a routinely manner, it starts becoming boring. So then you, at that moment when you feel a wound, you say, okay, I have to create a new routine, a new way of working. Maybe even changing just places at the table in which I'm working. Maybe just changing if you work at the office, maybe just changing how things look around, the color of the walls. You know, and it's not so easy to change the color of the walls, but can you put something on the walls so that it looks different next time? And at that precise moment, how the wound calls you to be creative in that moment. If you feel it in daily life and every time you feel it, how can you do things different? If you ride, for example, if you ride the bus daily and if you're looking at your cell phone, how can you do things different? Like maybe bring a book with you, or be in the cell phone but writing, doing something creative, do things differently than in the routine way. Okay, and it's very important for you to feel connected with the community. Okay, so list people which you consider your community, right? You can list them just in your mind, you don't have to write them down. So who is your community, right? And this question, even the question, might be painful for you. When I say who's your community, you might feel pain there because I felt it. And when you feel this, it's time for you to acknowledge the pain. Where does this pain come from? Why am I feeling this pain when acknowledging the people around me? How have I been felt hurt within the community? And how have I felt disconnected within the community? Or why do I feel we as community are suffering? Where does this pain come from? And sit there, okay? And also, you're going to heal your relationships. This is what you would do to heal this wound. Your path of healing the chironic wound invites you to heal the relationships, this pain in every one of those relationships. And of course, it's difficult because a healing process that involves more than one people, more than one person, implies that both jump into the healing energy, both jump into their own responsibility of healing. And sometimes we are simply not at the same readiness to jump into it. And so there are going to be people in your community who are jumping into this energy of healing, and there are going to be people that are not. So healing your own pain also involves accepting where everyone in your community is at, but accepting with love, not with resignation, with love, with loving care, acknowledging that you yourself haven't been ready sometimes before, that you yourself are not ready for jumping in everything all at once. You yourself have your own path, and you decide when you are ready for everything. And that's the right we all have as human beings. So acknowledge that everyone has their own right to decide when they heal what in their lives. And this is also going to heal the channel between you and your communities, you and those who you consider your communities. That's why it's important what I said. List those which you consider your community. Okay? And in some cases, it's going to be just 3 or 4 or 5 people. And in some cases, it's going to be a whole environment, like a whole group of people. So it doesn't depend. You don't have to have a lot of people in your community. It doesn't have to be an actual group of people. In some cases, it will be. And when it's an actual group of people, it doesn't have to be counted individuals. So however you list or define your community, the questions that the cards are asking and that your guides are inviting you to do are the important things. Okay, not how is this community shaped. Okay? So now let's get clear messages from the tarot to know how, why, and when. Well, the why I think is clear, but for some reason there's someone asking why. Why? There's someone wanting to know why something. Why? And okay, 4 of Cups. Yeah, I think this why question is simply the wound replicating itself, is asking this unfairness. Why to me? Why to us? Why to human beings? Why to the earth? Why to animals? Why are we going through this pain? Okay, sometimes you might get trapped in that question. Okay, so recognize when the question is making so trapping you. When is it not taking you anywhere? 4 of Cups. So you're telling me that in some way you are ready to unite, to go to this community. And when I say in some way, I mean not really. It's painful. It's painful. There's where the pain is. There is where the wound manifests most. Okay, so I know that, I see that, and what I have to say is take it one day at a time, one step at a time. You don't have also to jump in to this healing process with others. So sometimes you might feel, and it's very important when you feel it to do it, that it's better to step into your own energy, into your own path, into your own healing process. Do your own shifting and cleaning and acknowledging your journaling and being with yourself to be ready to go with others and connect with others. So, but it's very important that when you go back to yourself, that you are not in a conclusion type of I'm isolating, I'm better by myself. This is my conclusion. I will. It's better that I do things for myself, and that because I have an agency with my own healing process, and the best thing is to do it for myself, by myself, and so on. Okay, so it's important for you to go to yourself to your own healing process, of course, but how you do it and why you do it and from which motivation you do it is actually to build better communities, to build better societies, to be a part of a community that is healing collectively. So acknowledge that your individual healing process, it's a collective healing process, and that you are actually getting ready every day to go into a next healing step, which is going to be collective. And in some way, it's actually like you get ready in the morning and you go into the healing step, collective healing step in the afternoon, right? So it's a balance. okay? And you have to be very clear with yourself, very honest, when your soul is calling you to jump into a collective healing environment, okay? It's very important. And because, yes, sometimes it's more comfortable, more predictable, more stable when we are in our own individual healing process, but this is not complete if it's not connected to others. And that's why you might also feel sometimes some type of, there's something lacking. And that thing lacking might be your willingness to connect with others. Okay? And so there were like an interference of messages in my mind right now. Let me take a moment to. Yeah, the thing is, I simply saw different types of communities going through my mind. That's like was like a movie with very different types of scenes. So, okay, I'm just going to let it drift away. So let's see. These guides bring us clear messages for this Chironic wound in Pisces. Mm-hmm. Let me see how many cards they want, because I have not. Wow. Let me see if I want more. Okay. So we're going back to the same message again and again, and that's why also they don't want more cards. They say this message, this is the important message, and that we simply, it's time to sit with this message, because also it's a message of huge transformation. It's like the deepest type of message that you can get right now. And it's not me saying that. I don't want to pretend like I am delivering the deepest type of message. It's your guides. So they're telling me to switch this like that. And I don't know why they did this, but oh my god, yeah. I'm feeling you. Okay? And I feel the difficulty. And it's not an energy I'm used to feel. So that's why I'm just simply sitting with it. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so it's very strong. It's very strong, and that's why the message is repeating itself. You might feel trapped. You might feel that you've been in the same type of energy your whole life, that there is no way out. And this is your center type of thinking, your mentality. And although you've taken yourself to many beautiful places, it's like your center mentality is this. And that's why it's very painful for me to feel. Yeah. I don't know. I know that you've tried many things to go out of this, and that's none of them really has worked so far. So it's not like I'm going to say some magical words and then suddenly you're going to be transformed. It's not like that. Okay, you've done hard work. You've carried this wound, and you've at some point felt like you will never heal from this. And it's not true. That's why your guides are here today for you. This is completely not true. Okay? Okay, so when your guides asked me to change this, is to acknowledge that what the message I just said, but also that the way out is to recognize your two wings. Okay, that's it. That's how they are saying it. Okay, and let's go. So they say like this very clear phrase for you because it might struck something in you. So the phrase is recognize your two wings. Okay, and I know that this is something that when I say it to you, it means something. So I'm not going to go deeper into that meaning, the meaning of that. So the dark places within your mind and the creative force that you have within you are your like what's balancing the balancing forces, what's balancing you through life. Okay, so it's not that you have to dismiss, shut down the door to the dark places within you. And it's not also that you have to fall into them and forget about the fire, the expressive, the optimistic type of energy, because an artist might be very depressed, but when it goes into a creation process, it steps into the hope of finding something that's going to transform this darkness into something simply magical. It's artistry is like a magic trick of transformation of elements. So there's hope when you go into the creative process, even though a lot of artists don't recognize or acknowledge that. They just fall into the creative process automatically, called by it. But a very strong element of falling into the creative process is this hope, this vision, okay? So recognize the fire, the light, the optimism that it's calling you to do those creative processes. It's like they are saying, you're not this dark person that you believe yourself and that you persona created of yourself and created this image for others, and then so you created it so strongly that then you believe it yourself. Recognize the fire, the hope, the potential that you have, even though the world is such a there's a lot of suffering in the world. Your little sparkle can do wonders to change this, to transform this. Go feel them, go into that, take the calling, answer the calling. So your guides want you to answer the calling. So we have the Knight of Cups here to the right and the Knight of Wands here to the left. The Knight of Wands is accompanying the artist. The Knight of Cups is accompanying the raven. So again, your intuition connects you with this dark place because your intuition tells you about the suffering, because it's a reality, it's a truth. But when your intuition and when you move into this dark places, again, I'm not going to repeat myself, but you know what happens. But there's also another, it's like you have two horses, one that carries you through your intuitive journey and one that carries you to your creative journey. This Knight of Wands and Knight of Cups. And you are carried by those two forces. So interesting, horses and forces, no? Yeah, okay. Little pun. Sorry. I never noticed it also, so it's nice to. So you're carried by those two forces to the fire and the water, what I was saying before. And how can this union be manifest within you? In order, first within you, yes, first within you, but it's within you for the community. This is very important. So we have the within you energy here twice with the four of cups, but we have it on top of the community. There's a reason, there's a transcendental reason behind you falling into your own journey of healing journey, you falling into your own energy of I need space for myself. It's very important to give space to yourself, and it's very important that you voice out this need, because it's manifested here completely, wholly. And this, when you do so, it's important to say and to know for yourself that you are not doing this to fall into an isolated place, but to go into a place where you can be a transformed energy, you can bring energy to the community that it's going to glue the community together in a better way, right? Not make it stiff and stick together like codependent type of union, but more a fluid way. When you transform your own inner glue, you can bring this better cohesive forces with those around you. Okay. Wow. This is, and I know, yeah, okay. So we have the moon in Cancer with the Four of Cups. Just wanted to say that if this is important for anyone out there, you might be working with some Cancerian energy at the moment, and also have been very linked to it because of your wound. Yeah. So let me see if there are more messages for you. Yeah. So your guides say thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And I just want you to present you with your reading. And I want to say that I'm here for you. Your guides are here for you, which is the important thing. And I'm here to channel the messages as clearly as I can. And I hope this serves you in the best way possible. Please stay around for other readings and share, like, subscribe. All the best. Thank you.